Lyndon Arthur is back, ready to stake a claim for a shot at world glory when he takes on Argentina's Walter Gabriel Shechiera. Part of a huge night of action on Saturday, September the 17th. It's live and free on Channel 5.
This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's Wednesday of fight week. We didn't really discuss Canelo and Golovkin much yesterday. It was focused sort of on Fury Joshua and Eubank Jr. and Ben. A huge occasion here in Las Vegas. How would you compare this to the first two fights? A lot of hype around the first two fights. How would you compare it for the third one?
Same. I mean, you saw it yesterday in the lobby of the MGM. I think it's a compelling fight for a lot of different reasons. One, Canelo Alvarez is coming off a defeat. He's got a lot to prove in this fight. Two, Gennady Golovkin is probably at the final roll of the dice to become undisputed, something that he's always dreamed of doing. The bad blood exists a lot more now, and people understand it a lot more than certainly the first fight. But they were two tremendous fights. I just feel like we're going to get the best one. Someone made a good point. Gennady Golovkin shared 24 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. Some people believe he won those fights. He knows how to fight Canelo Alvarez, and I think up at 168, it's going to give him a much better shot than it would do at 160, because I think having made championship weight for 15, 16 years, I think it's going to really help his engine, help his durability, and they've both got granite chins. But I just feel this time the fight will end inside the distance.
How do you feel about the fact that Canelo Alvarez has been moving up, moving down? One of the greatest fighters ever, Roy Jones Jr., did that, and even said when he was on his way down from coming back from heavyweight that, it did affect him. Yeah. Now, obviously, Canelo hasn't gone up to cruiser heavy, he's gone to light heavy, but jumping around the weights, is that going to affect him?
I think that was another question someone said in there, and I think it will do. I think it can only do that because your body's changing all the time. 1 minute you're putting on mass, next minute you're trying to take mass off. He's not a 175. I mean, don't forget, this is a guy who used to fight at 147, 154, 160, 168, 175. It's incredible what he's done. But he says 168 is his perfect weight. And, I don't think he'll struggle to make 68. But that's where he feels most comfortable. And I think for Gennady Golovkin, when you look at the frame, everyone always towers over Canelo Alvarez in the head-to-heads. And Gennady does too. And when you've made 160 for 15, 16 years, it takes a big toll on your body. Trust me, he will feel unbelievable at the weigh-in on Friday at 168 compared to... And you will say to him, can you imagine if you had to take 8 pounds off this weight? And he'll go, don't think I could do it. So I think that advantage is going to be with Gennady. Going up and down is not an advantage. But 168 I think will be comfortable for Canelo.
We love a rivalry in boxing. We love trilogies. This has it both. It seems like from Canelo's side, there is a real genuine dislike to Gennady Golovkin. I just interviewed Golovkin, asked him a similar question. He wasn't really pleased with the question. He said, kind of what question is that? I don't have any ill feelings to Canelo Alvarez. Do you believe him, Gennady?
No, I don't. How can you have no ill feelings to Canelo Alvarez and say the things that he said? Gennady Golovkin is a very respectable man. He's an honourable man. He's a great man. But he doesn't like Canelo Alvarez. There's no point sugarcoat. But I think sometimes he feels that he doesn't want to disrespect the sport by, having sort of, back and forward and all this kind of stuff. But he doesn't like him. He doesn't. He said too many things about him to like him. I actually think they respect each other as fighters. But Canelo Alvarez has said, I want to end this fight inside 12 rounds. I want to finish Gennady Golovkin. And, I want Gennady Golovkin to speak his mind at the press conference and to you guys because he doesn't like him. It's simple as that.
He did deny it outright.
Yeah, but then he'll do an interview with someone else and he'll say he's this, he's that, So, Gennady Golovkin is a very, very tough man. And he's also very smiley, lovely to be around. But he's a stone-cold killer, mate. That's the reality. Where he comes from, the way he fights, see his brother, they're bad men. Bad men. And they're fine men, honourable men. But, they're ready to go and do a job on Saturday night, and they want to go in there and destroy Canelo Alvarez. Make no bones about it.
forward to it. Of course, both in the UK and America on pay-per-view. Let's talk about the UK first. It's going to be, what, 4:30 in the morning. How many buys do you think it does?
I really have no idea. I mean, it's a huge fight. I think, obviously, the time zone doesn't help any pay-per-view. But I expect it to do similar numbers to what it did on, I think the last fight was BT pay-per-view. I don't know what they were, but, you know, it's not going to break pay-per-view records. But, you know, it's a huge fight that fight fans will want to stay up for. Did
you speak to DAZN and sort of, I know it's their decision, but say we can get more eyeballs on it if we keep it off pay-per-view in the UK?
No, I'm not sure that's even the case, to be honest with you. I think if you're prepared to stay up and watch an international fight at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to do it, you know, with either across either option, to be honest with you. And it doesn't mean that it should be pay-per-view because of that reason, but ultimately, I don't think you're going to get a load of extra eyeballs if it's pay-per-view or part of the subscription. But, you know, obviously they're paying a huge amount of money for this fight, and they've got to make the numbers work. And, you know, there will be fights that, when we go back to the pay-per-view argument with DAZN, if they want to compete for fights like Canelo Golovkin, Ben Eubank, which is probably the biggest UK pay-per-view maybe we've ever done, AJ Fury, they have to have that functionality. And they've been able to do it. It's been incredibly successful, particularly with the KSI event and Bivol against Canelo. And, you know, they have a very powerful pay-per-view platform that they've built themselves.
And in terms of the US, it's at $85, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People without a subscription.
And with 65. Okay. So on HBO, in terms of the first two fights, the price point was cheaper. So talk to me about that decision and how that, do you think, affects pay-per-view sales?
6 years ago, 5 years ago. I believe it was, I'm not sure it was cheaper actually. It was $89.99 or $99.99.
Dan Raphael said it was cheaper. I'm going to quote him on that.
I'm not sure about that. But it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. This is going to do huge numbers. You know, don't forget, Canelo Bivol did over 500,000 buys on pay-per-view for DAZN. This will do upwards towards 1 million buys on, I think the first one did 1.1, 1.2, second one did 1.1. I think it starts between 800,000 and 1 million. We'll see what happens at the press conference in the weigh-in, because they're the key moments building up to a pay-per-view.
Okay, moving away from this, I'm guessing no update on the Fury Joshua side of things?
Just waiting for the contract. George called me earlier, actually I owe him a call, but just waiting for the contract.
See Frank's comments today on TalkSport saying we're all on the same page, no obstacles for this fight.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I think he said it's 90% done, 10% to go. I think that's about right. You know, whenever you agree the terms for a fight, it's very positive, but there are, I mean, we haven't received the contract yet, we have to review that, but there are conversations to be had with our exclusive broadcast partners, either side, but everybody's up for it, you know, so if everyone's got pure intentions, I think we can get it made.
Okay, just to close off, to the Last Stand podcast, Deontay Wilder on a future Anthony Joshua fight. I'm willing and able for everybody. I still want to whoop that ass. I'm not going to rob the fans of not making that fight happen. I definitely want that fight to happen. I just want to know if they're for real.
We've been for real for years and years. I mean, if you don't think Anthony Joshua's for real in terms of the opponents he faces, you've got to be daft. Didn't he say that we got to spark up a joint and pass it round or something like that? Was that you?
Shelley Finkel in California?
I don't know. I think one lug of that stuff, I think I'll be on my back. But could be quite amusing. Yeah, look, happy to discuss with Shelley. I reached out to Shelley. I've got huge money for Deontay Wilder in the Middle East to fight a number of different opponents, including Dillian White as well. But happy to have those conversations with those guys anytime. I felt, coming off the Usyk defeat, that Wilder AJ would be a fight that we've definitely seen in 2023, but right now we're focused on Tyson Fury and see if we can get over the line.
Hopefully you get that contract soon and everything's fine. Okay, thank you for your time, right?
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more times.
There's 5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help me?
One hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.